Hi there and welcome to the short show-off of our upcoming tutorial series about Alembic instancing. The reason we've started developing this tool is that we have a long background regarding 3D modeling. And just like you won't use a chainsaw for cutting your hair, Touchdesigner isn't quite suitable for 3D modeling. Nonetheless, just like with professional sports, you've got to select your players in order to achieve great results. That's why we've combined the power of an Alembic export in Blender with GLSL instancing in Touchdesigner. I'll show you how it works in a minute, but first I would like to show you the bottleneck we've encountered that started this journey. So this is a basic instancing setup. I'm gonna play the timeline. You see an alembicSOP over here with an Alembic file loaded in. And an Alembic file is basically a sequence of baked geometric results. So if your animation, for instance, consists of 50 poses and you'll export it based on a frame rate of 30 frames per second from your 3D modeling software, it will import in Touchdesigner running at 16 frames per second as a stacked up animation of 100 frames. So this Alembic, I believe it was about 22 frames this animation lasts, and I've exported it from Blender with frame rate of 24. So this basically would be around 55, 57 frames, but you can always test it to check the time over here. We set this one to constant mode, set this one to frames, and of course first load your Alembic file in it. And if you scrub through these, we'll just start at 1 and just scrub through it and check how long this animation lasts, and it's just about 55. Yep, 55. It doesn't move anymore, so we can conclude that this Alembic file has a stacked up animation sequence of 55 frames. So that's the first thing. And I've set up, like I said, a basic instancing example. I'm gonna set this one back to expression. I'm gonna set this pattern to the length of the animation, 55. Amplitude 1. And now we see our horse moving in a loop. And if we instance this based on grid rules, you see that this horse gets instanced 400 times, and that's all working fine. But the thing is that all horses are moving at exactly the same time, and we wanted to have an offset so that this horse, for instance, starts at frame 5 and this one at frame 20 and this one at frame 15, for instance, etc. But there isn't quite a parameter over here that controls some kind of offset for this frame timeline. And there is a workaround, but it's not very easy to set up. And we started with a solution in GLSL, and then things get quite out of hand and we build an entire tool around it. And we'll just hop over there and I'll show you how it works. So this is the main window of our tool. Well, we only have one window, but I call it the main window for now. Maybe we'll add a second one in future, but Okay, you can load in the Alembic file in here. We'll pick the pony just like in the other example. Set the amount of frames. It was 55. And then it's basically, sometimes I'm pressing the clear button first and you'll record it. And there are all your horses walking with an offset. If I switch it on to the constant mode, I will get back to this in a minute. This is like the example we had with the grid instancing. All horses are moving at the same time. And this is the random one. And you see that. Switch over to the lights. You see that all horses are moving independently from each other. And if I'm going out of perform mode, I'll give you a quick look how this actually works. And this is basically the point movement recorded in a texture. And if you take a closer look at the Alembic file, this particular Alembic file consists of 499 points. And if we go to the texture file again, you see the width of this texture is 499 points. And it's 15.5 points or pixels high, and that stands for the amount of frames of the animation. So this texture is recording the entire animation for every pixel of this mesh separately. So I can demonstrate that. Just press clear. Now it's gone. I press record. And you see now it has recorded the animation in texture. And if we go over to the shader, you see that this texture is fed into the shader. And there are a couple of not very difficult scripts, but it takes some time to set it up. Going back into perform mode. Take another Alembic file. We take this eye, clear it first. And if you take a closer look at this window over here, you can inspect your geometry. Sometimes it's a little bit off the origin point. You can set it up here. Maybe it needs to be a little bit higher. Like that. Maybe it's not rotated correctly. That will come to the second part. You can pick a shape here. I'll just pick the circle. If you take a closer look over here, I'm gonna stop this one for now. This is basically the first ring of a tunnel. You can see the entire tunnel over here, but sometimes it's easier to see it in this one, but I prefer this view. This already has an interesting view. You know what, we'll just record it. Clear, record. Oh yeah, of course, we first have to check the length of this animation. If I'm not mistaken, it was about 300 frames. Clear, record. Yeah, that looks about right. think there is something wrong with the clipping of the camera. I'll check that. Let me check that first. Yeah, it's a little bit too short. Okay, now it's gone. Back in perform mode. You see that this already has an interesting result, but I want to have the eyes to line up in the z-axis. So I'm going to rotate this one, and it's sometimes a little bit mind-bending how you need to rotate this, but if we just do some trial and error, you sometimes have a quicker result. Let's rotate this one. No, that's not it. Maybe this one 90. Check in the SOP mode again. Oh yeah, there it is. Let's see. No, the other way around. Minus 90. Let's see, I think I have to rotate it. Minus 90. Yeah, that was it. Okay. Can be a little bit mind-bending, but just a little bit of trial and error, you should be fine. And these parameters control the radius of this tunnel. So line it up like that. And the amplitude is basically the Z depth, like this. And this one controls the amount of, I would like to call the rings. So leave it at 30, but you can make it 10, so it's a bit shorter, but we'll leave it at 30. And let's see how this looks. Clear, record. You can reset your camera over here, press reset. And you see that it's already working. And I have a texture for this particular Alembic file. So we go over here, choose map. This is the wrong. Go to my textures. Basic color. Yeah. And I have a roughness as well. Metallic. And the normal map. Okay. I will leave a mid map black. So now we have our tunnel with a bunch of eyes looking at each other. We have this one in PBR mode now. You can also put it in constant mode if you just have one base color. I have some kind of rainbow thingy in here, and well, it gives also a nice effect, but PBR is more sort of realistic. Can control the offset. Can look at here. Switch them on to off. You see that there's some kind of inset. You can switch it off. This one, if you put this one to second, It works better for Alembic files with a round shape, or in this situation an hexagon. That brings us to the second part, or actually the third part of our instancing tool, the animation shapes. Some animations are more suitable for a sine kind of path and the other ones for a ramp. It's based on how your animation is set up. If it starts and it's leading towards some kind of end and it needs to start over from 0 again, then I would choose a ramp. And if your animation has some kind of wavy effect in it, you can set it to sine, but it's all based on how your Alembic file is set up. And these are what I like to call animation shapes. It's now set to random mode, but I set it up to constant mode. And now all eyes are moving at the same time. I think I'm going to put it in sine mode. I think that has a better effect. Yeah. You can control the speed. And all sliders you can set the sensitivity of the slider with the values left and right. You can put it in manual mode. You can just scrub through it. Press play. Pick another one. This is more a wavy offset animation. And as you can see, play it a little bit faster. See that all instances now are moving independently from each other. And this shape is what I like to call a stair or a step effect. And this just steps over one instance and leaves the Z depth, length or direction. And this one is the other way around. But some animation shapes are more suitable for other shapes, but you just play with it and see how it looks like. The whole shading part is something I've already explained. We have a constant mode, PBR mode. You can also load in an audio file. Let's play it. And this audio file is connected to the lights. And this light mode is now in constant mode. And you can see it in here. Stop it for now. You can hide it, you can view it. I can put this one in disco mode. You can check your Lightmap over here. And I press play, you see that it's audio reactive. Maybe I want a base color instead of a texture to make it a more surrealistic effect. Constant mode is it audio reactive? PBR is. Constant mode, disco mode. And with this planar thing, set this one to TZ. see now that our shape is moving in the Z direction. Change your field of view to stretch your view a little bit. See all it's working quite steady. Aspect ratio. Pause it. You see immediately your Lightmap is reacting. Mute it. Now it's still playing in the background. I'm gonna stop it for now. I'm gonna show you one last example. Let's see. Take this one. This interesting shape. Let's see it on SOP level. I'm gonna stop this one for now. Just pick another one, like that. It's a little bit big. No, I think I'm going to pick another one. Yeah, this one. Like I said, some shapes are more suitable for other geometries. I'm going to rotate this one. No, we set the one at 90. I think I'm going to rotate the Z 90 degrees. Yep. Set the width and the height. I believe this animation was about 200 frames. Clear it, record it. I think I had a different texture for this one. This. And there it is. See a different shape. Gives an interesting effect. Pick a different one. A little bit smaller. See on SOP level. Okay, it's not positioned right. Most of the time you just have to clear your recording when you switch over to a different shape. That's something maybe we can implement in the future, that it records all shapes at the same time. 1990. So this one is different again. Records. Or this one. It's also quite interesting. Zoom out. So you're inside a cube. Very spacey. Let's see if the PBR works. a little bit of shiny effect. I'm going to pick another one. This Jellyfish. And this is one. It's nice for this last example, or this last shape. Look like this. And I have to check how long this animation lasts. Go to the Alembic section. I think it's around 200, yeah. Okay, back to perform, view, 200, clear, record. Takes a little bit longer because it's a more high poly geometry. And you see that for this random position shape instancer, it works very well for this jellyfish character. Whenever we animate the planar, set it to random. Constant. Let's give it a couple of more copies. Just the width and the height. And you see that every jellyfish is moving independently from each other. Also audioreactive. Okay, I'm going to show you one more. This tile ball. See how it looks in here. Press H to zoom in on your geometry, and you see that it has a little bit of an offset. I think I'm going to position it right here because I would like to show this shape. It's a little bit small. Let's see if I put this one to 1. Stop that one. Make it a little bit bigger. And you see that I've already adjusted this one at the right position. It was exactly minus 1.62. So now it's positioned correctly. And just the radius. Make it a little bit bigger. I think I have a texture for this one as well. Textures. base color. We'll just see how it looks. Reset the camera, clear, record. I believe the animation was a little bit shorter. Just have a look. Yeah, I think it was 100. Set that one to 100. Clear, record. Set the animation to sine wave. And this is a good example. If I set this one to ramp, a little bit faster, you see that it starts over exactly at 0, stops back to 0. So this animation is more suitable for a sine wave shape. Go to the other maps. That's the wrong one. Roughness, metallic. Normal. Constant mode. Switch on the planar. Speed it up. Set it to disco. Put on the music. Field of view a little bit longer. Maybe the Z depth a little bit further. And there is your infinite tunnel. Mute it for now. Let's see how this one looks at the rectangle shape. It's also a little bit small. Stop it. Increase the depth. Render view, clear, record. So this was a short introduction about the workaround of this Alembic instancing tool. We're planning a multiple part tutorial series about how you can build this one on your own and how you can create Alembic files in a 3D modeling environment like Blender, and how you need to export it into an Alembic file in order to let this tool do the most of the hard work for you. The beta release is currently available at our Patreon website, so you can subscribe and try it out for yourself. If you have any suggestions, tips, or hopping into bugs, please let us know. In the meantime, we're busy recording our tutorials about this tool. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date, and we'll catch up next time.